Weird. Hopefully y'all can see me. Anyway, good morning, y'all. It is the TS show. We are coming to you live 7:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, where we are going to be talking about game 4 review. How I got it so wrong. Game 5 preview, which is coming up on Monday, 5:40 local time. And a couple of things going on in the NBA. Some omits. We're talking a little bit more about that in the WNBA USA Women's National Team. We are also going to be talking a little bit about some people that have entertained us throughout the last 5 to 10 years, as some announcers leaving, some change of hands, and some features, all here on the Sports Affiliations Network, coming to you live. And I might see how this is working. It's going like this. I guess we're just gonna have to go audio only for the first half of this, which is a-okay. What's going on, guys? If you can hear my voice, it is your boy JR coming to you. Happy Father's Day, everyone. I appreciate you guys tuning in, taking the time out of your possibly busy golf, coffee, steak preparation, whatever schedules. I personally like bowling myself, to listen to me. We are coming to you with the game 4 review, game 5 preview, as the title suggests, of the NBA finals of the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. And like we mentioned, if you got here, if you follow us on Twitter at the Sports Affiliation, or if you follow myself at 4F Apollo, or if you follow any one of us at the TSA Hoops Network, we appreciate you tuning into us here. If you are on our YouTube channel, we appreciate you tuning into us there. And Dallas said, I got one more in me. I'm absolutely thrilled that this series is extended, because we all thought it was a foregone conclusion that the Boston Celtics would sweep. But thanks to a great performance by more than Luka and Kyrie. We'll get a little bit into that in a moment. Dallas has extended the series to go back to Boston for game 5 on Monday. So first and foremost, absolutely floored by the performance that Dallas had in them. A very strong end-to-end performance. It's a combination of a few things for anyone that was actually watching. Dallas Mavericks ended up putting a full-on basketball clinic on the Boston Celtics, winning 122, the most points that they've scored, I believe, throughout this playoffs. To 84 for Boston, which also is one of their lowest Boston's lowest totals of this entire playoffs. Yesterday, and the largest margin of this game was, in fact, how it ended, which was actually more than how they ended. It was 48 for Dallas. It was their biggest lead, which is absolutely crazy, considering that the first quarter started a little bit how most games have started this entire series. It was actually pretty close, and then Boston just stopped hitting shots. Dallas started hitting everything, started getting to the line. You had guys like Derek Jones, Derek Lively that stepped up in big ways. And it's something that we've been looking for throughout this playoffs. I mean, honestly, it was actually kind of hard it's kind of hard to get over just how much these guys were missing throughout these playoffs. In fact, we traditionally had used their performances from the first 3 games, and we're talking about guys like Derek Lively, we're talking about PJ Washington, Derek Jones Jr., who have stepped up for the Dallas Mavericks throughout their entire playoff series, and we have laid money on the line, thinking that they will continue these. And it weren't so much outlier performances; they were performances by guys who, on the teams that they had came from, these guys were actually big stars. We're talking about guys like Gafford, in fact, who came over from Washington. These guys had stepped up defensively and offensively, and we laid money on the line for all of these guys, and they did not step up, and we have no idea why. But you know, you wait and you wait and you wait, and you just get a little bit patient, and good things happen. See how that works? I love it. Yeah, I love it, man. I'm enjoying today. Just a little aside. Yes, it is Father's Day, and so I will be celebrating it myself. Maybe throw on a picture or two for you guys later on, just how I'm spending my Father's Day with my little one. You might see her bust in here in a little bit, but again, great job stepping up, guys. I almost wanted to throw a "Who's your daddy" joke in there, but as a Lakers fan, I felt that whole shtick has been kind of played out. Thank you, Denver. Had to throw that in there for my boy Iggy, who if you're looking around, everyone's missing, everyone's doing their Father's Day stuff today, so it is just I will be running solo. So again, thank you for tuning in. And Wendy, yes, that intro is absolutely banging. You were absolutely right. Couldn't have said it better. And so, yeah, back to this game 4. Okay, so not only did you have offensive contributions from everyone on Dallas throughout their bench, you also had defensive contributions. You had key blocks, which we have seen in series prior. You had seen key steals, which you had seen before. Luka not fouling out this game. There were so many things that went Dallas's way. Some folks will also attribute it to the fact that there was a different officiating crew, particular officiating crew who would like to help the NBA extend the series. We can put that theory to the side for now. It's pure basketball perspective. Good job, Dallas. Let's see if you got another one, because again, I have this series going 6 games. It would be absolutely devastating for me to see it go any less than that, simply because I believe that the level of talent Dallas brings is absolutely amazing. That the amount of tenacity that Dallas brings absolutely amazing. And right now, this theory that Joe Mazzulla is out coaching Jason Kidd is absolutely flooring me right now, considering that this is Joe Mazzulla's second year coaching this team. Basically about a year and a half, considering that he came in on an abbreviated season from previous, and Jason Kidd is on his 3rd go around as a head coach, and it's actually had a lot more success and a lot more consistency this time around with the Dallas Mavericks. I would think that experience should win out. That currently is not the case. How he's bringing out the best in his supporting cast around Luka and Kyrie. Whatever he did this game 4, he needs to do it in game 5. Let's break down game 4 real quick, and then we'll go through this. Okay, so again, we had Dallas over Boston, 122-84, and just a couple of little details here. So laid some money down on the following players: Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. Oh my gosh. Drew Holiday, put some on him. Look, I personally look for either Sam Hauser or Peyton Pritchard to hit a couple of 3-pointers there. I know that we got some out of Hauser, so definitely some plus money there. Kristaps Porzingis was available for game 4, but did not play due to a coaching decision. Don't forget that he had that stellar game 1 and then re-aggravated. No, he did not re-aggravate his old injury. It was a new injury that actually popped up. So he also said, I got one more in me, and that's been it from him. So it's going to be interesting to see if he comes back for game 5 to try to get that final knockout punch from Boston. On the other side, the Dallas Mavericks put put money on Derek Jones. Some of you did PJ Washington, which is understandable. Again, as the trend had dictated, we here at TSA all agreed that at least one of those guys was going to give something. And then we also put stuff on the boards for Derek Lively. And then Luka and Kyrie. The most interesting thing about Luka and Kyrie is that you could basically put yourself in a lose-lose situation where the line looks nice for either the points or assists or triple-double watch or double-double watch or something like that. And then the game could get so out of hand, which you've seen in some of the games throughout Dallas's trip to the NBA Finals, where those one of those two guys are just about at their line and then they stop, which we saw in game 4 for Luka, whose points line was at 32.5, and he stopped at 29 and did not play the fourth quarter. So I'm sure a lot of you who bet the over were like tearing your hair out. And I'm one of those guys that actually had a line, not a parlay sitting out there for Luka. So apologies if you missed that one. If you were smart or if you were somewhat, I would say, hesitant to look at that line and say, oh no, this might not be that game. It's either going to be a really bad game or a really bad game for Kyrie or Luka. You bet the under. Props to you. And hey, if you guys are winning off of these, if you're getting some success, if you doubt us, you don't tell us, whatever, that is a-okay. We don't get them all right. If we did, we have a much bigger office space. I'll tell you that right now. But if you're just hitting there and you're punching some tickets and you're cashing in on them, put them in the comments below. Tag us at the sports affiliation. We definitely love to see winning. It's all inclusive community here. Going more down the line, one big story, of course, everyone's talking about the Derek Lively effect, the effect that Tyson Chandler has had on him as a player. He went 80%. He was 4 for 5 yesterday and hit his first three-pointer of his career. If you ain't gonna do it at any time at any point of the stage, the best time to do it is, hey, this might be our last game. You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. And shout out to Luka for finding Lively on that dribble drive penetration play, for finding Derek Lively in the corner for his first ever career three-pointer. Like you said, shout out to his mom, his late mom, and I couldn't be more proud of the guy because that's a story that as far as a budding player, someone that's coming up in the league and coming into his own, that's something that you definitely love to see. Someone that could be a good asset for Dallas Mavericks going forward. Something that you always hope for as a fan is like, who are these young cats coming up? You hoping that they develop into something long term. So hopefully that helps him out. And then also, Jason Kidd went with Tim Hardaway Jr. last night again in the lineup, and this time it was the Tim Hardaway Jr. of old, sitting there at 5 for 7, okay, hitting a couple three-pointers with his dad in the crowd. So you definitely got a lot of support from a lot more Dallas Mavericks players than you saw from the Boston bench. And then let's see here. We had Peyton Pritchard, who played a bunch of minutes. Of course, he played about 20 minutes. And I keep circling, I keep going back to him as a player because throughout the playoffs, I've seen it, I've said it. He's a player to watch. He's an X factor. He was 5 for 14 yesterday. The 14 shots is more indicative of the amount of time that he played in what we consider garbage time because the lead was so huge in the fourth. But he went 1 for 6, which is from 3, which is not something that I've traditionally seen from him. You see more of the 3s and the 4s and the line be pushed up. I don't know exactly what's going on with this kid. If you are hesitant or you have the ability to bet the under on his three-pointers next game, go for it. Right now, he's just not stepping up. Sub 1 has been his average throughout this series. Sam Hauser, on the other hand, hasn't seen as much time throughout these playoffs, has gotten a little bit more play time these last few games, has stepped it up. He went 5 for 7 and 4 for 6, which was 4 for 6 from 3. I think that he might be doing what they expected Pritchard to do, and they're mainly playing Hauser more, using him more efficiently because of his height. which would absolutely make a lot of sense because then you don't have to worry about guys leaking out and helping out on defense for help blocks, guys like PJ Washington helping out on the perimeter. So that's about what happened game 4. A lot of Dallas, a little bit of Boston, and here we are back for one more. Uh, if you guys are tuning in, thank you again. This is the Sports Affiliation TSA Hoops live broadcast. We're doing a Game 4 review. We're moving on to our Game 5 preview. Taking a quick sip of this H2 Joe right here. And getting right back into it. So let's talk about Game 5 coming up here in Boston for another possible closeout game, since every game from this point on is a closeout. It will be very interesting to see how Boston bounces back. Traditionally, after a loss, Boston comes out and hits all the gas and absolutely obliterates their opponent. And we have been waiting for that one this entire series for Boston to quote unquote drop one. And I tweeted it out in sort of jest before the game had started, before game 4, saying Boston wouldn't drop one, right? But the performance did not look like Boston dropped one. It's like they had a gimme game, or they were tired or lethargic, or they were just going through the motions. It really did look like Dallas did a very great job defensively on switches, help defense. And so I think that if Joe Mazzulla is developing into the coach that he is, and this team is a very experienced, very seasoned team, collectively they're going to make the adjustments that are going to need to be made for them to win Game 5. So my money is on the Boston Celtics, and I have to say that neutrally because, again, this is coming as a representative of TSA. The Laker fan in me hopes that Boston never wins another game ever again. I'm looking for guys like Jaylen Brown to get more efficient. Jaylen Brown last game was 3 for 12 from the field, and that's not normally his forte. Jason Tatum, of course, we know if you're just getting into who he is or what he's playing as this season, he has taken more of a backseat from the scoring position, done a lot more distributing, allowing guys like Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday to get better looks. So he's been more of a distributor. He actually got to the line a lot more. He handled the ball a lot more this game, understandably so, because there were so many points of which Boston just went absolutely cold. And JT, being the prolific scorer that he is and the MVP, the all-star that we know him to be, he's able to take over games offensively. So you definitely saw a lot more of that. But him being a little bit more hesitant, trying to stay in the role that he has settled into for this season, definitely saw a few more turnovers than normal. Had 3 turnovers for the day. Don't normally see it that high. Jaylen Brown, of course, being the other ball handler, the primary scorer, saw a couple from him. So definitely some sloppy play overall. 5 turnovers from Drew Holiday. Also, just bad play. Definitely got stymied a lot by the Dallas defense. Got spread out more on the floor. So it's just a bunch of things you didn't normally see from Boston. As far as where we're looking at, what to watch for, again, I mentioned Jason Tatum probably going back to his original game plan of being more of a distributor, having more of a focused offense going through Jaylen Brown as a primary point of attack. A lot more dribble drive. You're seeing guys more like Derek White step up. And I don't know. Again, I mentioned it before. Sam Hauser would be a good bet to put a lay on because, again, his height is definitely going to help him be a lot more successful. But you never know. In that Indiana series, you definitely saw smaller guys and speed kind of win out. Both teams like to play fast in Dallas and Boston. It might not be such a bad idea for Joe to throw Peyton Pritchard in there early on in the first and third quarters to kind of throw Dallas off of their pace. Because again, a guy like Luka plays with a lot of pace, plays well from the half court offense. The rest of his team likes to run. We know how fast Kyrie is, and so on and so forth. But if they change the pace up a little bit, I think that'll keep Dallas honest, keep them from getting too comfortable in just setting into the half court defense. Those are a couple of adjustments that I would think that they would make as far as Boston is concerned to Dallas's pace attack. On the other side, Dallas is again looking to stay alive because this is as far as this team has gotten collectively in the playoffs, and I'm sure that they don't want to go home just yet. They want to probably take this back to Dallas for at least another game. You're going to need guys again like THJ, Tim Hardaway Jr., to step up again because that was absolutely huge there. His minutes in the second and third were absolutely phenomenal. The investment on them paid dividends. We are absolutely proud because he's a guy that was mentioned in games in a couple of episodes prior. That he is a guy that definitely needs to step up. I actually believe Evan, SoCal, who you guys need to follow on X as well, mentioned him and his minutes. It was questionable at first, but again, you get to a certain age like myself where you can't just get up off the court, not stretch, and then go off for about 25 or 30. Absolutely sorry for it. THJ needed to be reminded that he was that dude and still is that dude at times. Had his bad game 3, came back for game 4, so he's definitely a guy I could see that could give you a few quality minutes in downtime, which was absolutely imperative because when he comes in for a guy like Kyrie Irving, comes in for a guy like Luka, the minutes that you need are to continue the offensive push. If you guys follow at Iggy_IDP on X, he's another one of our TSA hoops guys. Big betting show. You definitely need to go watch that, and Home Slice as well. Also, the Sports Affiliation show here on the Sports Affiliation Network. He will definitely go on and on and on about how Dallas's scoring ability is not there at a championship level enough to beat Boston. Yes, yesterday was a one-off. We can go ahead and remove that, but he's absolutely right. Dallas needs more people to score. They're not a team that traditionally packs it in and piles it on. As far as the offensive side, you don't see these 120 scores that often, but you can definitely see that guys like THJ, even guys like PJ Washington, these guys need to be able to score the ball in moments where Luka is not out there or is not getting to the line. Guys like Kyrie are doing more distributing and not able to hit their 3-ball consistently. So these are guys that we're looking to step up. Keys to the game, to game 5, Dallas bench play, THJ, Derek Lively, do your thing, hit another 3, big man. Let's get it. And Gafford, the little Gafford has been a guy that we thought that would be the featured center. I mean, he's a little bit older, but he's a guy that we thought that would be the enforcer in the middle. And it's been lively mostly throughout the series. That he's a key to whether Boston's going to be able to continue to do their dribble penetration, to get inside, to open it up, because we know that Boston likes to shoot the 3, but it only starts from them being able to get inside and score easily, get to the line, and keep Dallas honest. If he steps up, we get 3s from PJ. We get the same performance from Derek Lively. It's like we're trying to hit a Dallas parlay here. And last but not least, we get unsung heroes like Tim Hardaway Jr. If all those things hit, we can definitely see another over on Dallas's offensive performance, we could definitely see another win. It's just a question of whether these guys can do it or not. Again, my money is on Boston. You guys let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments later on who you decide to put your money on for this series. If you guys think that anyone else needs to step up, if there are any unsung heroes, anyone that you think is going to be the X factor for Game 5, definitely put it in the comments below. We're going to be pushing out tickets to show where our head and our hearts are at as far as betting. We're going to come back to that in just a little bit. We're going to take a very, very short breather. Another H2 Joseph, and then we'll be right back with you guys. But stay tuned here live on the Sports Affiliation Show. Got to stay hydrated. All right. We're back. All right. So again, happy Father's Day to anyone that is listening in, tuning in, or will be watching this later. This is the TSA Hoops live show. We do this every Sunday at the same bat time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Same bat channel here on YouTube, also featured on X, and you may see us on Facebook as well. So I'm your host, JR. You can follow me at 4F Apollo on X. You can make sure to subscribe here on our YouTube channel. Oh, and don't forget that we also have the Discord, which is up and running, and we got our guy Will. Hey, shout out to Will for helping us build our Discord channel. Will, we appreciate you, man. Link's definitely going to be here. We are also going to be featuring it in the comments section, so that way if you guys ever need to check it out later on, tune in there. We have guys that go in and out that are chatting up all things betting, all things important for NBA playoffs, and WNBA is starting to get hot as well, and we got a lot of plays there too, so keep an eye out for that. Speaking of the W, let's talk a little bit more. We talked about this last week about the omission of Caitlin Clark from USA Women's Basketball Team, which, again, she was omitted. The team, I don't believe that the team of 12 women has been officially set yet. So there's definitely still room for one person or another to be swapped out. But one key omission for the Olympics, Arike Ogumbole. I probably destroyed her last name, and I apologize, Arike. You definitely deserve more respect as being one of the highest offensive threats for the last 4 or 5 seasons in the W. For those not familiar with her game, Arike has been the highest offensive player of the year, has had multiple all-star appearances in the W, plays for the Dallas Wings on her 6th season, I believe. So again, this is the women's counterpart to the Dallas Mavericks, and she's basically been the she handles the ball like Kyrie Irving and shoots the ball like Luka. So if you were to fuse those two in the one, you get her. And she is also in a she hadn't been announced yet that she had been omitted from being part of the 12 for the 5-on-5 women's Olympic squad. but she also had removed her name from consideration. And if you get to see some of these stories, we're going to be reposting them later. She had been considering giving her time and going. She had been going to camps for USA Women's national team, which is a requirement to actually be considered for the team because you need to show your dedication. She had removed her name from consideration before they even considered not inviting her, which is very interesting. And you guys, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on that. I gotta ask you guys about this before we get too deep into the story. If you find at your position of work that uh, you have a huge amount of talent personally, you have been dedicating a certain amount of time in extracurriculars to help build the company's repertoire. You have an immaculate resume, and you are not being considered for what would be, for some people see it as ceremonial accolades. Other people see it as very honorable accolades, and possible positions within your company. How would you feel about there being some sort of who type of business going on that would keep you from attaining said accolades? I ask that because that's essentially what seems to be going on here. One of the bigger conversations overall about who's being omitted is simply the fact that the conversation from the Olympics building committee for USA basketball is that the team that is being comprised now is made up of women that are gel. I will give you the full reasoning or explanation, but what it boils down to is that women and players that would gel together, which sort of makes sense because Arike is a guard, she plays the guard position, but and this team has 5 guards already, very guard heavy, and I believe 3 or 4 of them are from the Las Vegas Aces. So it's sort of understandable how you can see, like, as a team is being built, you can see how adding Enrique would be more and more disruptive as far as the camaraderie. But I also believe that if you are strong enough, if you're seasoned enough at the position, if you've shown the ability to dominate in your position over and over and over again for a nation that likes to talk about competing, putting the best product out there, and winning, this hit none of those points. I personally am disappointed in the fact that they didn't even consider her. Camaraderie and cohesion aside, she is a very personable person. You don't see anything about her in the news. I still question why she's being omitted from this team, outside of her removal of consideration for the process. But yeah, we're gonna continue to watch that. For the detractors, for those just getting into the dub, of course, you're gonna see a lot of comments on X and other social media platforms about how this omission and the omission of Caitlin Clark is gonna further solidify why players of certain caliber should be included. And they're probably going to be preying on the women's downfall, which I am not a proponent for. I absolutely hope that all the choices and decisions made for players that will be included on this team will have major success. I hope we bring back the gold again I believe this will be a 7th time in a row for women's basketball if they bring this home. So we'll see. Yeah, definitely hoping for some success in that in the future, that we have a better criteria for including some of these players as far as consideration that they go to tryouts and everything like that. Also on the flip side, just want a quick shout out, USA men's basketball team, Derek White. Hey, congratulations, man, for being considered an alternate in case Kawhi Leonard is unable to go. Which I don't think he's going to be able to go. I don't think he's going to be able to go. Sorry, Clippers fans. I don't think like it's a great nod, but I would definitely love to see Derek White out there. Of course, it would help Boston, but because it's Olympic play is absolutely out of this world, completely different from how we play basketball here in the United States. Definitely has helped a lot of players improve their game. We saw that with FIBA, and I'll keep mentioning that over and over again. But Derek White considered a healthy alternative to Kawhi Leonard. So that's that. And again, if you are tuning in here, you are tuning into the livest show out here on the West Coast. It is just about 8 in the morning. We are over halfway through our show, possibly sooner because I got breakfast to eat and stuff and all that good stuff. Happy Father's Day to all my listeners. Thank you for tuning in here. And one last thing that we need to get to before we start talking about our bets of the day. For Game 5, Charles Barkley has announced that his TNT set will be his last set for broadcasting. He will not be going to another network. Charles Barkley, you have given us a ton of laughs on TNT show. You have had a lot of hot takes on all the other shows that you have been on. Thank you for being part of the crew. We are collectively sad to see you go, but we hope that whatever your next adventure is, or your next venture is, that it will take you all the way through retirement and that it solidifies you in the Comics Hall of Fame, because you're definitely a funny one. You've given us many great moments, and good luck on your new ventures, sir. Please continue to work on your golf game too. All right. I had to throw that in there for my dad because he's a big golf guy. So that's basically it. If you guys have any interest in any of those stories, definitely put them in the comments below. We are still live here. And let's flip on over to trying to make some money today. Okay, so JC, thanks for tuning in, brother. Yeah, I gotta find a fun 3-leg parlay I can play on drafters. Fun 3-leg parlay. Okay. I don't know. This series stresses me out, so I don't know about fun, sir. But okay, so one of the things I'm always big on. And let's just go ahead and see if we can pull this up here. We last played the ticket. Let's show here past lineups. And let us know where you're putting your tickets at too. If you're tuning in for the sports affiliation, definitely fun. I had a fun boosted play that comprised of games 1 through 4. Did this on Prize Picks. It was basically betting on the over-under for point totals for the following 6 players: Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Luka, Kyrie, and PJ Washington. And I hit 4 out of 6. The lines were very high, and thanks to the way that everyone had performed in that game 4, I hit, but it wasn't the hit that I was looking for. So just wanted to throw that out there. We put out the line. We talked about the last line was Derek Lively over boards. Shout out to Iggy for helping us build this. Jason Tatum rebounds was an interesting one. I think we had split on that on the over under. I bet the under on his rebounds. His line at that time was 9.5. I bet the under because he only had 5. Probably more because he turned less into a rebounder and passer, more into a scorer at that time. I put up Daniel Gafford. I set the over on his rebounds. He ended up with 4 rebounds. The line was at 4.5. And again, we just mentioned this earlier in the show. Luka at 32.5 points was the line from game 4. I put the over, and well, hey, but what can you do? Thought it was going to be a much more bigger closeout game. What up, Coach? I appreciate you for coming on the show. Thanks for tuning in, sir. We're talking bets now, some fun parlays. So let's see where some of these lines are at for the NBA. Okay. So the line for Luka again is at 32.5 for points. So it's definitely possible. The question is, what kind of game is it going to be? It has to be a very specific type of game for Luka or Kyrie to ever get over their point total. This game was well in hand by the beginning of the third quarter. It was there in the second quarter, but it was like for sure there in the third quarter, which is where most of the leads throughout the series have been basically obliterated. So over under on Luka, I think you could win or lose either way on that. That's if you like the drama behind that line, play that line, because it could be Luka with 33 because he has to play all 48, or it could be Luka under that because he didn't have to play because either the game is well out of hand or the game is well out of hand. It's just a question of, if you're going to ask, what type of game is Boston going to have? If Boston has one of those absolutely crazy performances like they've done throughout each of their series, Luka may have a bad game. The under is fine. And so if you believe in the Boston part, bet the under on Luka. That would be a way to go. Derek Lively points. Derek hit 12 points last game. His line is at 8.5. Will he be able to continue that? Again, we talked about the step up of support players. He's definitely a guy to watch. I like his points game because he definitely has those glue moments where, like you saw with that corner three, where an offense might be somewhat stagnant, or the main two, Luka and Kyrie, aren't scoring on particular plays. He's definitely a good outlet. He's a big guy, so you don't normally see three balls from him, but him scoring in general, definitely something to look for. I like the 8.5 because it's sort of a safer bet for guys that don't score a lot. You can easily get him to the line. He doesn't get to the line a lot either. And coach mentioned Sam Hauser at 1.5 3-pointers. And he hit 3 of 4, and it hit in 3 of 4 finals games. Yes, Sam Hauser, we just mentioned him in the show earlier. Thank you, coach, for that. We're gonna get to him on the other side because, again, I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned him as an X factor. We're gonna get to him as a betting possibility. We're gonna run through a couple other Dallas guys. Oh, that's cool. We want to put that out there. Coach has got a hard flex. Coach says he knows Sam Hauser's dad, which is absolutely phenomenal. Hey, maybe you can get Sam Hauser's dad on the show so he could talk about why, where he feels his son is and how important his son is to the Boston Celtics. Let's see here. PJ Washington. PJ Washington is such an interesting player because since his Charlotte days, he's definitely improved upon his efficiency, but has gone cold since the Western Conference Finals. So although he may be a popular bet, I am staying away from PJ Washington on this one. And watch, anyone that I stay away from, for some reason, me personally, ends up going off. So maybe that'll help you guys if you want to bet PJ Washington. I'll stay away from him so that way you guys can make money off of him. Yes, he is super streaky. Okay. So running down the line, players that I'm looking forward to bet on: Luka on the Dallas side, Lively on the Dallas side. Maybe Gafford on the Dallas side. So those are 3. And I haven't mentioned Kyrie because Kyrie through the first 4 games as far as scoring has just gone MIA, but we know that he is the passer. So that is A-okay. Anytime that his points come up, I traditionally bet the under because one weird thing happens or everyone gets completely locked in on Kyrie. As far as the defense is concerned, he doesn't do that well against much more athletic guards. So throwing guys out there and having multiple looks at Derek White and like Drew Holiday, the team seems to throw off his rhythm. So that's why I stay away personally from Kyrie's points. Coach mentions Derek Jones Jr. steals right now is at he's got the over half a steal. Anytime that you see a half of something, anytime I see a half of something, I kind of look at it as a free play. But I've also had a moment where I had Sam Hauser half a 3-pointer and the under hit. Which is absolutely frustrating when you see a known 3-point shooter have 0 on a half. You think it's free money. It's not free money. So let's get to the other side of this. Some guys that we want to look at. Jaylen Brown, I think, is a good one to look at as far as points are concerned. Although he has been the scorer, and we're talking about Jason Tatum being the MVP, as far as who's going to be that. If you guys have a line for who's going to be MVP, that is a line that I would definitely bet on as far as the long term. I got my money on JT. Apparently, a lot of people have been politicking for him, like they politic for Derek White being 6th man. It could be JB. You never know. I will put my money on JT, though. I think that with Boston being a potential winner for this year, JT is the guy to go to because of how much he's changed his game. We talked about it all season, how much he's helped this team improve. He should be the MVP, and give JB if they give JB the Finals MVP, it is what it is. But I think it's going to be JT. Jaylen Brown's going to be good for points. I think Jason Tatum good for rebounds, assists. Will be a fun one. Let's see what his rebounds assist line is at. 15.5, which again, his line last game was 9 for his rebounds, and he ended up hitting 4 because of how he had to change his game. It's all this whole thing is just going to depend on who Boston becomes, who they decide to be from the jump from the first quarter. I think it's going to be the Boston that we see bounce back. I think that 15.5, if you look at a 9-rebound, 6-assist game, that leaves one hockey assist, one extra assist a day, if you would, away from hitting that line. It's a high line to ask, but I think that it's hittable for the way that Jason Tatum plays his game. I think it would be one to make you sweat. But if we're talking about sweat bets here, that's a line to go for. I'm betting over on that. Steals, again, we had Derek Jones Jr. at a half. He's going to be out there. He's going to play. It's possible that he hits one. Definitely a fun bet. They have Derek White. One of the lines is 1.5 steals. The other line is half a steal. So they think that Derek White will get at least one. With the nod and the potential to be part of Team USA, I think that you see him go off defensively this game. A steal definitely could be a fun one there. Let's see here. 3-pointers. Now let's talk about 3-pointers because, Boston being a 3-point shooting team, and if you guys tune in here week in, week out to TSA Hoops and the Sports Affiliation Show, you will have heard us mention and yell at you to say Boston shoots 3-pointers. Boston shoots 3-pointers. Just find one, pick one. If you see anyone with a half, like Coach mentioned earlier, you just might hit. Okay? Let's see here. Some of the lines here. Sam Hauser, 1.5 3-pointers. So he's definitely starting to trend up. His time is slowly ticking up over Pritchard. So he's definitely going to get some more looks. I believe that him having 1.5 is a fine line. You could, if you wanted to bet that, you could bet the higher line, which is 2.5. I don't think he's got 3 in him again, because it's a question of whether those threes come in a garbage time moment or not. But Bet it. Let's go. Let's bet the over on that one. Peyton Pritchard's line is back at half. And again, he's had games where he's missed over and over and over again. He's hit the line in three. He's hit that line in 3 of the last 5, but that's at the half. And this is from a guy that's hit multiple 3-pointers like Hauser did game 4. Peyton Pritchard is a guy that normally hits over that mark. So maybe that's a free one. Maybe that's not. Who knows? I might go with Pritchard instead of Hauser on this one. Coach is going to be building his ticket. He's probably going to put that one out there for you. We'll put the one big one out there for the sports affiliation. I like to see Pritchard step up on that as far as 3 points are concerned. And guys, stay away from Max Kleber. Stay away from Maxi Kleber, please. He's not healthy. We've been trying to figure out what's going on with him this entire playoffs. I just think it's health. Health has been the thing that we've been riding on. It's a big reason why these teams are here. And he's just not healthy enough to give us one to hit on anything. So I'm staying well away from him. Let's see here. If there's any other lines here, I always like to look at the traditional PRA just because to see how high these lines are. Luka again is back at 50.5. Jason Tatum's at 42.5. 50.5 is screaming the under for me for Luka Doncic at the PRA. It is hard for him to get that line. It usually settles at about 50. It sweats, but it gets to that line and either he's taken out or he only gets to that line closer towards the end of the game. It's very rare that he hits that 51, 52 mark. I'm betting the under on Luka for the PRA. Jaylen Brown, surprisingly, is at 34.5, while Jason Tatum is at 42.5. And I believe that 42.5 for Jason Tatum is not indicative of his scoring, more indicative of the rebound game and his assist game. Again, you saw a higher turnover ratio to assist for Jason Tatum from game 4. That's because that game just got way out of hand. Dallas did a great job defensively. I think that Jaylen Brown's line is much more conducive of how well he will be a scorer in game 5. It's possible he's good for at least 20. So then how do you make up that 14.5? And he's not a big rebounder. So that line may be more of, they're seeing this as JT's shining moment, his time to shine. You might be better off betting JT than you would JB. So possibly under or stay away from JB. But the at or over for Jason Tatum for the PRA. Let's see here. Daniel Gafford, 10.5. Stay away from that. Derek Jones Jr., 9.5 PRA. Derek Lively, 19. This one, again, super interesting because he had 12 points last game, a bunch of boards. Hey, what's going on, Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network? Thanks for tuning in. You're checking in with the TSA Hoops live show. We're talking about bets right now, players to bet on, things to look at, some fun stuff. Derek Lively, PRA good. Again, we always bet Derek Lively's rebounds and Gafford's rebounds, which are big reasons why they get these really higher interesting lines. Derek Lively is going to be out there. Gafford's going to be out there. They're definitely going to need the looks. As long as Lively stays out of foul trouble, 19 is a very decent line to play. If you're doing PRA for him, hold. If you got a rebound line, a good rebound line for him, go there, or a points line that we mentioned earlier in the show. Make sure to go back and check that out. Go ahead and bet on those. But PRA combination, a lot of weird things can happen. I mean, he could foul out early or get in foul trouble early. We had a couple of games where he had those 3 fouls early. And so you didn't really get much production from him. Those are the type of things that again, the growth process is super important. And I just don't think that I would want to put my money on growth right now. Small moments, yes, but growth is not something that I will want to invest my little chunk of change in right now. I think that's it. Again, mentioned earlier, Boston money line. Whatever the spread is, make sure to keep an eye out for that. And that just about does it for our show today. If you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about, please put it in the comments below. If we don't get to it right now in the next few seconds, we're definitely going to get to it next week. Yeah, next week. In case you guys were wondering, this show is going to keep on going because even after the finals are ended, we still got basketball to talk about. We got Olympic basketball to talk about. We mentioned that earlier in the show. It's going to be coming up here in a few weeks. Hope you guys are excited about that. We're going to be watching our guys earn some more gold, hopefully. I think we're calling this the meme team. I think that's what we're calling the men's basketball, led by LeBron James and all the guys that you would see in memes and blah, 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 blah. So hopefully they take home the gold, and we're going to be talking about all that. Hopefully we'll have crowned an NBA champion by next Sunday. If not, then you know where to tune into, because we're going to be talking about it here on the Sports Affiliation Network. I'm your host, JR. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate it so much. And hey, we actually got through the show without the spotty internet. So hey, we're winning today. Yeah, for all you guys are celebrating Father's Day, home and abroad. I want to say a special shout out to you. Your guys' investment in your families is absolutely important. I cannot stress this enough. I know this is men's mental health awareness month, but if you're like me, you definitely know the importance of what it means to be a dad, because these guys are the future. You want to say hi, kiddo? I'm gonna go spend my time being dad now. Thanks, guys, again for tuning in. This has been a pleasure to hang out with you. It's the Sports Affiliation Network TSA Hoop Show. See you guys next week. I say bye bye. Bye bye.